people are going to be coming in when they come in, but that's fine. So I'm gonna share my screen with you guys today. And can you guys see this? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Quality content that converts. Guys, Mason, I don't know if I sent you this or not. And Dean, I'll send it to you guys. Actually, I'll send it to everybody in the chat right now. I think it's super impactful. It is a podcast with Alex Hormozy, Cody Sanchez, and this other guy that's super.
Powerhouses, yeah.
And so they were talking about, how to scale businesses and how to grow. And it was like, why you need to create content and why podcasting is the best strategy. And I was like, well, there you go. There you have it. When people smarter than me are telling you that this is what you need to be doing, then that's what you need to be doing. Also, I'll send another video in the chat. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. It's a billionaire. His name is
For how many locations now?
Brad Sugars. And so he is in
Now another
he's in
way
a,
to look for locations is
he's in a mastermind that I'm in. I'm going to copy this too. It's a mastermind that I'm in called Speakeasy. And he's talking about his method of using podcast as a lead magnet, which is exactly what we do, right? And so when I got to hear him talk about it, it was such a validating experience because I was like, all right, this is what the billionaire is doing. He starts a business and then immediately starts a podcast and then immediately starts inviting the top people to his podcast in that niche and just smashes it, right? It's the quickest way he's been able to grow businesses. So, with that being said, I'm like, well, great. That's what we do all day, every day. So, let's get into it, right? We're talking about mastering the production process that creates authority building content. Reason why you want to make your production look good is so that when people come to the podcast, they take you seriously, right? As you can see, my background's got my logo up here. I've decorated it with books and I've created a nice little background for myself. I highly recommend you guys do that for yourselves when you're creating content. Because if you have a back wall that's just blank, or if the lighting is a little bit off, all of that stuff is going to lend to its credibility, right? I also want you guys to think about what you're wearing on these podcasts so that you're branding yourself correctly, right? And whatever it is, like just keep it consistent so that people understand, oh, this is what we're doing when this is how the guy is showing up or the girl is showing up. Okay. So, we want to make sure that we're creating quality in terms of who we're inviting to the show, right? People that have high social currency. We're making sure that we're looking good. We're making sure that our backgrounds look good. We're making sure that equipment um, sounds good, and it doesn't have to be top of the line either, right? I'm not asking you guys to spend thousands of dollars setting up your podcast. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't be doing that anyway until you're about 100 episodes in and you're in it. Then we can talk about how to scale it up, maybe start getting a podcast arm, a different microphone, but for now, all of that stuff doesn't really matter that much. You just want to make sure that you look good, you sound good, the background looks good, and we're off to the races, right? I'll talk about equipment here in a second. I also want to discuss, and I talked about this in day one, about the head trash. And we all have the head trash, right? We all have this thing that we're like, oh my God, am I good enough? Oh my God, are people going to like it? Are people going to like me? Are they going to judge me? All of that head trash will start to subside as you continue your content journey. Does this make sense? So the more you create, the more you do it, the more you're out there, the less you're going to care, the more irreverent you're going to be. And it's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't done this a lot what that feeling is. But the great thing is and I'm putting together these case studies of people that we've helped, and Will has talked about this at length, where we've been ignoring a big piece of the puzzle, which is as we create and as we put ourselves out there, and at the deeper we go with this, the more confidence people get, right? The more imposter syndrome kind of goes by the wayside. And we've seen that with, Little Brain Campaign, who was with us. They are child psychologists that started their podcast. And when they first started, they were super scared. And now they're off to the races, right? Rufus Crescent, who I spent 2 years trying to convince to start a podcast. 2. He finally started the podcast. Now he's on to writing a book. He wants to do more public speaking, and all because he started this podcast, right? So is the podcast going to create revenue for us? Yeah. But is it also going to create confidence? Is it also going to reinforce your messaging? Is it going to reinforce who you are? Is it going to reinforce all of the things that you offer and how you help people? 100%. I will tell you this week, because I've been doing this 5-day challenge, I don't know what happened in my brain. And I think it is because of creating this content and doing this 5-day challenge that it has revitalized and reinforced what it is that we're doing, because it's forcing you to make those decisions, right? When you're creating content, it forces you to make the decision. It forces you to be clear about what you're doing. It forces you to do all of those things. And what I'm getting out of creating content and doing this 5-day challenge has been this clarity with Will and Dean and the whole team as to where we're headed, what we're doing. And then it reinforces that. And like I spent 3 hours this morning just kind of purging a bunch of things that are in my business that have no business being in there anymore. And that is because I'm creating content on my expertise and how I know that what I do helps people and it creates results, right? So I want you guys to think about that as we're going through. How do you guys help? Think about the stories of the people that you've helped. What are the through lines of those of those transformations, right? Could be that they got more money, right? For Mason, could be that you got them these settlements. But I also want you to think about what has been the experience that they got as a result of working with you specifically, not just any PI attorney, but specifically, what was it like working with Mason and his law firm, right? And when you start to think about what are the ancillary results and benefits of working with you, that's how you can start to figure out what your unique selling proposition is. Because I know we're always looking for, what's my unique selling proposition? What is the thing that I do better than anybody else? And when you're messy and confusing, it's hard to get to that through line. But when you get clear about what it is that you do, and you start to take stock in who you help, how you've helped them, what the stories have been like, what's their transformations. Now, when you're creating content, there's intentionality behind it. And it's so funny. I read the book, Science of Scaling, over the past weekend. And then I put in the chat for you guys here, and I'll send everybody the email of the 3 juggernauts in the entrepreneur space, Alex Hormozi and Cody Sanchez, about how to scale a business. And they were saying it too. The one thing. What is the one thing that differentiates you and makes you the expert in that field, right? We don't want to be general practitioners. We want to be the experts. How are we becoming the experts? And I know we had a conversation with Jesse and Abizer yesterday about, Jesse and what he's doing in the, in the email marketing space, but then he also wanted to do CRM stuff. And I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs and as visionaries, we have an issue with making a decision and going all in on it. I don't know why. And maybe a Beezer could probably, kind of come in, with his Jedi mind stuff. But why is it that we have this apprehension to go all in on that one thing? Right? And that jumping off point off the cliff going, guys, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to commit to it. Right? Congratulations to Beezer on doing what he's doing. Right? Congratulations to Mason on making the decision to go forward and go all in. Right? Because the universe will not bargain with you. It will come together to give you what you want, but it will not bargain with you. So if you're half in, half out, that's an issue. You're on mute, Abizer.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. You were in a roll, man.
Oh, I didn't know if you were like adding to
No,
it.
not at all.
Amen.
I was talking to my bird here, not to you. But you were on a roll. I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries. So, but that's what I'm talking about, the head trash. And that's what I'm talking about, the confidence building. And that's what happens. And Abizer, I want to ask you this question too, because you're how many episodes in with your podcast now?
12, 13.
12, 13 episodes. And we spoke at least 6 months, right? About getting started, about what you need to do, and the apprehensions that you had. Now that you're 13 episodes in, right? And you're doing it the way we're asking you to do it, which is stream it. Don't worry about editing, putting it out there immediately, right? What was the head trash that you had before, and what is it like now after doing 13 episodes?
I think a lot of it has to do with getting it right, right? And you talked about going all in on something. The big question I always have is, my head trashes around, what if it's the wrong thing, right? And then when I pick something, is it the right thing? And then is it perfect? Now I can go on and analyze anything to death if I choose to. And so what I ended up doing with your stuff is just I think Dean and I had this conversation some time ago. I just write down the steps. Once I write the steps down, it's mindless work. I don't have to think about those steps anymore. Should I do it? Should I not do it? It's just okay. That's the next step. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, right? It's mindless, just one thing after another. Okay, I got to get 2 podcasts this week. Okay, who are they? Who are they going to be? I don't have to think about it. I don't have to analyze it. Is it the right people? The wrong people? What am I going to say? All that other stuff, extraneous, right? Once I start focusing more on the contribution that I'm looking to make. Like if it's all about me, then it's all about getting it right, getting it perfect. Should I do this? And I'm putting myself out there, right? The flip side is if I don't put myself out there, what are people missing? What contribution am I supposed to make here to so many people? The guests that come on were gonna make, but I never invited them. I never got them out there to say what they wanted to say. People never heard it, right? So I think when I step out of myself and just start getting into the results that I'm looking to create, which isn't even about the sale, like you said, Armando. It's not even about the sale, right? It's not about getting out there in someone's face and saying, "Let's get this done. Where's my PO? Give me the signature." It's about the first part, which is just getting to know them and getting their message out. Like, why are you important? Like, what have you done that's so critical that people should know? And I played some small part in getting your message out, which is huge.
Yeah. No, I love that for sure. I was taking a public speaking course once, and the guy on stage said something super impactful that sticks with me today. He said, "Don't deprive the audience of your message because of your own hangups." Right? And it was so necessary to hear at the time, because I think you can talk about the same things, right? Me and Abizer could have the exact same offer, the exact same pricing, the exact verbiage, and his audience is not going to necessarily resonate with my audience. I may say something the exact same way, and somebody hears it and is going to take action, right? They may hear from Abizer and they go, boom, all right, I'm out, I'm doing it, this other way. It reminds me of the commercial where the woman's like, I think we should be doing this, right? And then the other lady who's like the CEO goes, I think we should be doing this, and says the same thing. And she go like, yeah, I just said that. He's like, yeah, but I did this, right? Yeah, but I did this, right? So it's one of those things that like reminds me that the message that needs to be said can come from a variety of different people, but the person that needs to hear it in that way can only absorb it from that one person, right? I know Alex Hormozy, it resonates with a lot of people. Some people he doesn't. I know Eric Thomas resonates with some people. A lot of people he doesn't. And he talks about that too. So with that being said, as we're building up the confidence to start doing these things and putting ourselves out there, and why should we be doing that? One, because yes, we want to scale a business and grow 100%. But how are we helping? What are we doing out there? I know a lot of people are going, well, AI is going to make us obsolete. Hear that a lot. You can hear it all over the place. AI is, taking everybody's jobs, and that's that. Here's what I'll say to that. Problems are not going away. They're not going away. Problems will never go away. We're just going to have new problems. And then when those problems get solved, we're going to have new problems on top of that. And then when those problems get solved, we're also going to have new problems. There will always be new problems to solve. And if there is new problems to solve, there is business. Period. Right? The internet came out and put a lot of people out of work. However, think about how many people it employed, how many industries were born as a result of this. And we're so focused on fear that we can't see past our own nose sometimes, because we're so caught up with all of the vitriol that gets thrown out there about what's going to happen. And I'll tell you what's going to happen in the future, and you can write this down 100% guaranteed. This is what's going to happen in the future. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. That's 100% true. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. And as long as we have issues, as long as human beings have problems, which they will, there will always be place for business. You just got to solve problems. That's it. If you can solve a problem, you have a business. But I think people get caught up with, oh, I got a market, and I got a sales, and I got finance, and I got operations, I got process, I got to manage, I got KPIs, I got blah, 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 all this stuff, right? But we forget about the problem that we are solving. And if we can really start to purge and to move everything out and to go, I'm solving this problem. And if I can solve that problem and people are going to pay me to solve that problem, then I have a business. All day, every day. So for those of you guys that are afraid of the future, right? Like, that's what the future holds. Ups and downs and ups and downs and problems. And it's just never going to end. Okay. All right. So we're also talking about put Powerball. And so we're also going to talk about interview mastery. Here's the deal. As we continue to get better at podcast hosting, Abiezer, when you first started, the first episode that you did compared to now, what's your comfort level like?
Oh, it's vastly different, right? The first one I didn't even live stream. I think you and I did the first one, just bantering back and forth for a bit.
Yeah.
That's how I did that. And the next one I did the same way, with somebody else. And the third one I just started a live stream.
So all that tells me is that you just got to get the reps in.
That's it. It's like anything else, right?
I've mentored a lot of people in the acting and singing space, right? When I was singing on Bourbon Street, and I would mentor these MCs and I would mentor these singers. And one of the things that I remember telling them, because they just couldn't find their voice, right? I felt like they were like, oh, I want to be like Christina Aguilera. I want to be like Britney Spears. I want to be like, and they would put on this voice, right? They would just put it on. And I'm like, well, you don't own your voice. What do you mean by that? I'm like, well, you just don't own it. You're trying so hard to be all of these other singers that you're for some reason haven't gone all in on you, right? This has to do with actors, singers, dancers, whoever. They always want to emulate somebody, and then they forget about them. And I think it's because they don't have enough reps in them, enough stage time to create enough of the scars, enough of the fails that give you the confidence to be who you are. I'm not confident today because I'm awesome, right? I'm confident today because I failed so many damn times, and I've fallen on my face so many times, and I've failed so many times, and I've been rejected so many times that stuff doesn't bother me anymore. And so my irreverence doesn't come from this false confidence. It comes from the failing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And if you're afraid to fail, you're never going to grow, because people want the end result without the work. And it can't happen that way. It just isn't designed that way. It is designed beautifully this way, so that if you really want it, I'll give it to you, but you're going to have to go through hell to get it. And I know that's not a sexy thing to say, because everybody wants to grow fast and everybody wants to do the thing. But I'm telling you that if you put yourself in a position of vulnerability, and if you put yourself in a position to fail and to be okay with failing and to put yourself out there anyway, regardless, the things that you will discover about yourself will far exceed anything that I can teach you on this 5-day challenge. Nothing I can tell you will take the place of your experience going through the process, which is why I'm telling you that doing the thing will build the confidence. So that's the focus. How are you going to get to be a better interviewer? You're going to be a better interviewer by interviewing and getting enough stage time and doing it over and over again and figuring out what your voice is. I can give you frameworks all day, and I'm going to, and I've given it to you. I've given you the passer framework. I've given you the questions. I've given you everything that you need to do, right? It's like riding a bike. I can give you the most expensive bike in the world. I can give you the most expensive uniform, the most expensive helmet. I can give you the most picturesque place to ride that bike. But at the end of the day, you got to ride that bike. And it's not going to be pretty if you don't understand how to ride it. And the only way you're going to understand how to ride it is by riding it. So let's get away from, and the next slide over here is make it exist first, then perfect it later. That's why I'm telling you guys this all. A lot of this 5-day challenge for me this time around was, yes, I want to speak tactics, and yes, I want to give you guys the frameworks and everything that you need to know. But I felt like it was more important for me to express the mindset shift that you must go through in order to grow. There's a reason why people that win the lottery don't hold on to the money, become broke, depressed, drug addicts. Do you know why? Because the version of them that have that money isn't in alignment with the deserving aspect of it. They didn't do the work to get there. So therefore, they have to go back to who they are as people because they haven't grown enough to deserve or feel like they deserve that money. The reason why these one-hit wonders become one-hit wonders is because they lucked out, and the first time around, they got it. And look, I'm not saying that it's not possible for somebody to become a one-hit wonder and stay in the game. But more often than not, you see that these one-hit wonders hit the one hit and then they're off into obscurity, right? Happened with Darth Vader. What was his name? Christensen. What's his name? What's his name, Will?
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden
right?
Christensen.
Don't know who he was. Becomes Darth Vader, and then he's off into obscurity. Right? And I would venture to say it's because he probably in his head didn't feel like he deserved to be there. That's my theory. But I can tell you that when you look at the research of these lottery winners and people that have gotten lucky and haven't had the work in place to say, hey, I deserve to be here, they don't stay. It's incongruent. And so I'm telling you that if you put it together and you put the work in and you build the confidence and you have the scars to prove it, then when you're in that room, you have no qualms about talking to the people that are also in that room, which is why I love going to masterminds, because when I meet up with those people, all of them have scars. All of them have these failures upon failures upon failures. I mean, Alex Hormozy went bankrupt 3 times. But the third time, he was able to make money super fast because he had already built the scars. He already knew what he needed to do. So that's what we're talking about, interview mastery. Content optimization will happen later on when you start perfecting what it is that you're the message that you're trying to put out, right? I know at the very beginning, it might be kind of clustery, unclear, don't know what you're doing. But as the more you develop it and the more you refine what it is that you're doing, the content's going to start getting optimized. And then you're going to go, this is on brand. This is on brand. This is on brand. This is on brand. And then that's the content that you put out, right? Like Jesse, if you start talking about CRM and how to manage your go high level and how to do this, and then all of a sudden you start talking about web design and SEO, it's like, wait, hold on. That's off brand. What's Jesse talking about? Jesse was talking about CRMs. He's the expert. Now you're talking about SEO. Why? Why are you doing that? So that's what we're talking about, content optimization. And, like I said about visibility comfort, this just comes from getting enough reps. And that's why me, Will, Dean, everybody that's on the Leduc Entertainment team exists so that we can hold your hand through the process, right? We're going to have the belief in you before you have the belief in yourself. That's what we do, right? We help build you up so that you can get a workflow. And I was in an acting class years ago, and I wish I would have memorized how he said this, and I'm a butcher it, but you guys are going to get the point. The point is, when you get a workflow, when you have a craft, right, a way to approach acting work, and this is acting in particular, but it's germane to podcasting, right? Germane means in the same world, right? So I know I like using those words. All right, so. But I think this is super important to talk about because when I was in acting and you have a bunch of these actors that want to be the next Tom Cruise, the next, Benjamin Bratt. Hey, Roxy, what's up? They want to be all of they want the result ahead of the work. And my acting coach was like, guys, you have to focus on the craft. You have to have a way in which you approach the work. Right? I've studied, the Uta Hagen method, Stanislavski, Stella Adler, improv, all of these different books. And it wasn't until because I went through all of that stuff, I created my way of approaching the work. And that became my craft. That became my workflow. And if you don't have a workflow, you have to develop your workflow. And the only way you're going to develop your workflow is by doing the work, right? And optimizing as you go. Doesn't happen all the other way around. And look, I'm going to give you guys framework and I'm going to give you guys process and procedure and all of that. However, there will be a time very soon, and it happens pretty quick, within 6 months, I'd say, if you're doing this on a regular basis, that you will then gain the confidence and start owning your own thing. right? And then you will start approaching the work from your perspective and the way you want to approach it. And that becomes your craft. And when you have craft, you get into this unconscious competence, right? We'll learn in 4 phases. We have unconscious incompetence. This is where we don't know what we don't know because we haven't learned it yet. Then you have conscious incompetence. This is where you know that you're doing it wrong, but at least somebody has told you, hey, Will, this is not the way to do it. And you're like, great, I'm aware that I've been doing it wrong, right? Then you have conscious competence. This is where you're doing things correctly, but you're still having to think about it. Super mechanical. You may have to review a checklist. And then you get to unconscious competence where you're doing it without even thinking about it. How we drive cars and how we do all of the things on autopilot. How many times you get in a car and you're like, holy shit, I'm home. I'm not thinking about the rearview mirror. I'm not thinking about putting the seatbelt. I'm not thinking about all of these things. I'm just in unconscious competence phase. But once again, it comes from the action. It does not come from osmosis and thinking about it. And like my good friend Abizer yesterday called it mental masturbation, which I thought was really, really funny. But it's true, though. I think we just sit and we think and we think and we think and we think and we think. And then we think some more and we pontificate. And I'm like, yo, just go. What are we doing? Just play. Play the game. You're going to figure it out. Play the game. Got it? So what equipment do I need? Picking out the space, signing up for StreamYard, scheduling my first 2 episodes. Please commit this to memory. Make this your mantra. Make it exist first, perfect it later. Make it exist first, then perfect it later. People want to perfect during the brainstorming phase. And I'm talking about this at 8-Figure Firm next month when it comes to improv and like, how do we use these methods? How do we use these techniques to like grow? My sister is my project manager and she is high on discernment, right? She is very high on editing. She's not very high on the brainstorming stuff. And so sometimes when we're in meetings and I'm bringing in a brainstorm or we're thinking about how we could possibly do something, her brain, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way, there's no shame in how she thinks. That's just the way she operates. And that's totally fine, right? I have to remind her that, hey, we're in brainstorm mode. We are not in editing mode. We can edit later. Yes, we definitely need them all, you know? So what do I mean by that? Like sometimes you just got to get messy and in there and like experience it, right? And stop editing in that space. That's the discovery phase, right? And be totally cool with the discovery process. It's going to be messy. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be cringe, as they like to say these days, right? Cringe. You know, no cap. You know, no cap. Y'all know no cap. I know all y'all are old in here. Except for Jack and Luz, right? Just kidding.
So Armando, when I do a motion or a brief, that's what I do. I just put whatever comes to my mind, write it all down, and then I go back and put it all together into form they're supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's guys, it's such a beautiful place to be. I'm going to improv later tonight, and it's always a good reminder to me that the play is what we're forgetting about, right? And play is just such a beautiful part of life that we are completely forgetting and ignoring because we want to get there fast. We want to get there now. Make it exist first, perfect it, edit it later. Okay? All right. What are you going to need? Microphone, camera, lighting, background, branding. I'm going to give you guys several different options here. Here's the easy setup. Your microphone, your laptop has a microphone, right? If you don't have a microphone and you're like, I'm not going to get started till I have a microphone, stop it. Stop it right now. Stop it. If you've done Zoom, you have all of the things that you need to start a podcast. Okay? Just stop. It's just another excuse to stop you from taking action. We can figure out how to get a microphone later, right? Camera, use your laptop. You guys are using it right now. I can see your beautiful faces. Use your laptop. Lighting. Does everybody have a lamp? You guys have a lamp? Yes? No? How much does a lamp cost, Roxy, from Walmart? Which, by the way, did you know that Walmart is selling radioactive shrimp? Did you hear this?
No.
Did you hear this? I just heard this. Everybody's talking about it.
$10. You can get a lamp at Walmart for $10.
Dang! $10. There you go. You know what else? You know what else is a easy light source that's free?
You're gonna say the sun.
Here comes the sun.
Yeah, you just wait till Bill Gates gets a hold of it, though.
Here comes the sun. I say it's all right. Boo, 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 boo. Sun. Okay? The sun is free. Set up your desk, right, in front of the sun, and now you have natural available light. Lighting, super easy. Don't overthink this. And the main thing about this is don't overthink it. Just get it done, right? Your first few podcasts, your first 10 podcasts are going to be not great. They're not going to be great at all. They're going to be subpar. If you're okay with that and you move forward anyway, great. Love it. Because guess what? Here's the statistics. I believe, what is it? 90% of all statistics are made up on the spot, right? The statistic that I'm going to give you guys, I'll look it up. I'll look it up. But actually, you know what? I'm going to ask AI because I really want to know. How many of all of the podcasts in the world that get started make it past 10 episodes? And you can't really, like, ChatGPT also lies, so you can't really take that for granted. However, here we go. Around 80% of podcasts don't make it past episode 10, according to Riverside Analytics. That means only about 20% of launched podcasts reached at least 10 episodes. So, goes back to that 80-20 rule, right? Everybody's heard of the 80-20 rule.
I think it brings up your reframe as well. A lot of people start it, they realize, this isn't what I like, let's adjust it. And then they start their version of the more polished, whatever it is later.
100%. Or they don't. Or they take it and they're like, this doesn't work, and they stop, right? But that's not going to be you guys, because you guys are different. You guys are making the commitment to create your podcast and go past 10 episodes. Why? Because the point of the podcast is to connect with human beings. That's number one. Besides anything else, we just want to meet new people. We want to connect with people. We want to meet new people. I would have never met a Beezer if it wasn't for the podcast. I would have never met Mason. I would have never, well, I reconnected with Will doing the podcast, but we met, years ago doing theater. But if it wasn't for the podcast, he wouldn't be working with me right now. Jesse, Fiverr and Dean, I've met him in the film industry. And then Roxy was, thrown into my life from a friend of mine. But all that to say is 80% of the people here, let's see, make sure that the statistics are correct. 1, 2, 3. What I'm saying is 80% of the people here have come as a result of the podcast. So number one is why we're creating it is to get our message out there and to connect with people. And then you're going to grow your business in the process, right? But I want you guys to enjoy the process as you're doing it. I'll tell you this quick story. I know some of you guys know the story, but some of you may not. In 2012, there was an amazing art exhibit called Lifelike. I'm going to show you this. It was so impactful I had to buy the book. And so basically these artists, right? Can you guys see that? Does that look like a trash bag to you? Yeah, can you see it? Hold on, let me stop sharing so that you guys can see it better. All right, can you see it better now? You know what that's made out of? Marble. This is made out of marble. This guy spent hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours about creating this trash bag out of marble for the sake of the art. He was, and that's the thing. Every artist that was in this lifelike exhibit had this methodology, the psychology of art, that all they thought about was the process of creating the art. It wasn't about the end result. And at the time, I was really heavy into my acting career and pushing my acting career along. And it was such a mind-blowing reminder that what I'm doing is focusing on the end result instead of focusing on the process, right? And as a result, that day I committed to, I'm going to go to class, I'm going to start reading books, I'm going to get enveloped into the art form of acting. And I started booking more roles. I started getting deeper into what it is that I was doing and enjoying the process. And this is what I want you guys to remember too about when you're creating this podcast and when you're creating content, it should be fun. It should feel fun. At the beginning, you're going to have this excitement because it's new. You'll have some anxiety, but there should be this newness of it that keeps things exciting, right? And then you guys are going to ebb and flow through it. But as you ebb and flow, you'll have these mini epiphanies as you go, right? And those things bring you guys to another level and a clearer perspective on what it is that you're doing, why it is that you're doing it. And look, I've seen people grow tremendously with their podcasts and with their content. So make sure you guys are focusing on the process. So lighting, if you don't have a lamp, use the sun. The background should be clean. Avoid white walls. Avoid a white wall. For me, I like to put things in that mean something to me, right? These swords up here are from my great grandfather, right? In Portugal. Been in the family for like years and years and years and years. Leduc Entertainment, my logo. Then I've got my daughter over here. I've got this really old video or photograph camera from like back in the day that my grandfather that my grandfather gave me. And so, and I've got awards from, the movies that I've made and, and books that I really love to read. Think about that when you're putting your background together, things that matter to you, right? Like Will loves Pulp Fiction, right? And who is that? Is that John Coltrane in the back? Right? So
and Miles Davis.
And Miles Davis, right? His son's name's Miles, right? So it matters, right? Jesse loves himself. That's why he's got a photograph of, and that's totally fine. I love that. I love that. Nothing wrong with that. I have a huge picture of me as Poseidon. I'll let you guys see it one day. Anyway, all I'm saying is the background should match what you guys are into, right? Take that opportunity. I love Roxy's background over here. She obviously loves art, right? And these pieces mean something, I'm sure. Otherwise, you wouldn't have them on the wall, right? They resonate with you in some capacity. So those are the things that I would think about when you guys are putting your podcast together. What you guys want to convey to your people, because they're going to be seeing this every time they look at your podcast, right? And so It's an opportunity for you to show your creativity. And I used to work for TGI Fridays back in the day when Flair was a thing, and they were like, Flair. You guys remember Flair? Oh my, yeah. Armando, you don't have enough flair. I thought it was a joke from the movie, but it was true. They were like, Armando, you need to put more flair on. People don't know what you like. And I was like, okay. My point is, people want to know who they're talking to, right? And they can tell really quick. Dean over here loves books. It's a reel in the top on the top. It's a movie reel on the top.
Film reel, got a little crystal down there for my spiritual situations, a singing bowl below that, and then a lot of the books are mixtures of things that have brought me to where I'm at now.
There you go.
And then I got some of those grandpa things right below that.
Heck yeah. And look, if you guys are doing Zoom calls, if you guys are doing these things, it's also important to have that stuff going on in the background too, right? Like it's always an opportunity for people to get to know you through the things that you like, right? So don't
Oh, I want to know if Dean's got like matching glasses for every shirt he wears. Does he have a blue set of glasses and like green and match his shirt? That's what I want to know.
are these for UV protection?
Yeah, it depends on the guest. If they're in the porn, well, clearly, and if they're just into the sun rays, then it's a different thing. Like if I've got some for Jesse, but I don't have them close. Yeah, I'll have to find them.
It stops the blue light from coming through.
Yeah, there's another one's for Jesse, and then these are for Armando because we were always hauling ass around here.
Whoa, man.
Yeah, 120 miles an hour, baby.
I thought I was the only one that wore yellow glasses, so
I got you.
Oh, you got it. And then branding. Once you guys get going, I thought about doing, spaghetti on the wall thing, but on StreamYard, it brands it, right? So if you guys haven't signed up for StreamYard yet, and we're going to go through that process now, because
Can I throw something in for lighting while you're there, Armando?
Yeah, go ahead.
Lighting wise, and you guys, especially if you're starting with your computers or your smartphones, they're all smart devices. So some cameras have sensors, and if everything's on auto, you might think you're adding more light, but if the light from this side is hitting that sensor, it's going to be darkening you versus the light behind that camera or sensor. So you might be even better off turning your lights off and having one behind camera if you're not dealing with a lot of lights.
Yes. Yeah. 100%, right? Like you can control your lighting better if there isn't like outside sources, right? There's, and we can get technical, but I don't necessarily want to discourage you guys from getting started. But yes, what Dean is talking about is if you can control your light, the better you're going to look, right?
Yeah. Or the simplicity of sometimes just turning the light off above your head might help.
Yeah.
Your normal camera without adding too much.
This right here, is on, but I should have my ring light on. So here's what StreamYard looks like. If you guys haven't used StreamYard yet, and we'll have a little thing, but you can put all of your media assets in it. So we have the two podcasts, right? We have Spaghetti on the Wall, right? And then here's my overlay. So here's all the branding, Spaghetti on the Wall. Here's another branding right there. Here's more branding, right? If I'm doing Partnership for Profit, then I switch it up, right? Partnership for Profit. Here's my overlay. Super easy to brand your podcast these days, right? Especially with StreamYard. And then over here, you can add your intro and then your outro so that when you go live, immediately it'll play your intro within your going live, right? And then you do your podcast and then you hit outro and it'll play your outro automatically without you having to think about it. So the reason why I love StreamYard is because it streamlines the process. No pun intended, or pun intended. Yeah. Perhaps one of our assignments is to have a StreamYard account or whatever else we do. Yep. Agreed. So yes, we should do that. Okay. This is the mid-level setup. right? Microphone camera. You can get a Yeti microphone for 99 bucks, Logitech 59 bucks, ring light 279, right? If you want to go up. And then I have like, the pro setup, which is, getting a Rodecaster Pro. This is what I have. Shure microphone, a Sony a7S III, an aperture light. Once again, this is not necessary. This is just if you want to take it to the next level, right?
But it's still important. Still important.
It's important, and I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, in my opinion, you want to be at least 100 episodes in before you start making the financial commitment to upgrading your podcast in that way. That's just me, right? That's the metric. So, all right. With that being said, does everybody have StreamYard? No. All right. So we're going to go on StreamYard. Everybody go to StreamYard and we're going to sign up for it.
So is that better than Riverside? You would,
Yeah.
you liked it better than Riverside? Okay.
100%. Why? Because we're going to go live every single time. Every single time. Why? Because we don't have to edit it. And please watch that video with the Alex Hormozy video. What you're noticing and what they're talking about, this is from the top down, right? What you're noticing is that the stuff that is very highly produced, edited really well, those things are not getting as much engagement. And the trust level is going down tremendously because they're like, is this AI or is this a real person? Right? And so when there's mess ups, when it looks a little bit more authentic, people are going to like it. So has everybody gone into StreamYard? I will wait. And I'll pull up my StreamYard so everybody can see. Once you're in there, right, you can make it light, you can make it dark, whatever you want. Here's the library of all of the podcasts, right? So that you can download them and put them onto Spotify, Apple Music, all of that, right? But all of the streams will have already gone to the YouTube channel, right? So if you go to the YouTube channel, playlist, podcasts, actually, here are all the Spaghetti on the Wall podcasts, and here are all the Partnership for Profit podcasts.
Welcome to Partnerships for
Boom. And it's already there. See? It's 171 episodes. Super easy. Make sense? All right. So that's the library. And then here are the destinations. You guys can add your Facebook, your business Facebook, your LinkedIn profile, your business LinkedIn profile, your YouTube channel, your Twitch channel, your X channel, and then your Instagram. And here's the deal with Instagram is that you have to go to Instagram, hit go live, copy the stream key, and then that stream key goes into StreamYard. So, and you have to do that on every episode, which is a little annoying, but it's okay. And so when you do this, when you add the destinations, it'll all already populate here. So from here, if I want to do a live stream, right, and I'm doing it now, I can click where I want to go, right? I want to go my personal, I want to go on LinkedIn, I want to go YouTube, Twitch, X, and my Instagram, right? And I'm doing Spaghetti on the Wall with Roxy. And this is, I have Monique, who's my VA. I have her do all of this stuff. So she sets this up, thumbnails, she sets up the description, she sets up everything so that when you schedule it, it shows up on YouTube, shows up on Facebook that this is happening and this is coming up, right? You do that. You can customize for each thing, and then you create the live stream. It's fine. Just go in there for now. Boom. And so what's the name of your podcast, Roxy?
The Grief Files.
The Grief Files, right? So you'll come in here, media assets, and you'll hit the plus button. You'll put in your logo, an overlay. You'll hit plus, add your overlay in there. Once you create, here's the thing that I don't want you guys to get caught up in for now. You guys probably won't have an intro or an outro that you can create until you have enough episodes where you can pull from your episodes as B-roll so that you can create the voiceover. That's okay. You don't need it for now. Just at the very beginning of the episode, you do your intro live. Hey guys, this is Roxy with the Bereave Files.
Grief Files.
Grief
The
Files.
Grief-
The Grief Files. This podcast is about blah 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 blah. Thank you guys for being on the show. Abizer, welcome Abizer. Thanks for being on the show. Abizer's blah 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 blah. Let's get into it. And then when we're ended, hey, Grief Files have been brought to you by whatever business that you're promoting. For us, Spaghetti on the Wall brought to you by Leduc Entertainment for all of your production needs. Podcasts, organic social media, we got you. Keep watching, keep listening, and we'll see you all next time. Then I hit the outro, and the outro plays by itself, right? And then I'm out. So for you guys, whatever your intro is, and if you guys haven't seen recap of day 2, I just sent it. Make sure you guys get recap number 2 so that you guys can come up with your intro and outro and headline, and your rapid fire questions and all of that, so that you can go in here and look. If you don't have a logo and you don't have overlays, it doesn't matter. Go anyway. Really doesn't matter. Just invite 2 people, do the podcast, have it recorded, and then roll into another one, and then roll into another one, and we'll build the plane as we go. Right? It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all of these things in place in order for you guys to do your first podcast. Don't want you guys to worry about that. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And so that's what your homework is. Obviously, come up with your intro, outro, the name of your show, what your rapid fire questions are, and then obviously the people that you're going to start inviting, create a list of those people and start inviting them to the show. Have a day next week that you're going to go, this is the day I'm going to do this podcast, and this is the day I'm going to do my podcast. And then you may not have somebody scheduled for it yet, but you'll find that person and you'll go, hey, Armando, I'm doing a podcast at Tuesday at 2 p.m. Can you make it? No? Great. Move on to the next person. And then, you can pick up Armando at a different time or whatever. Or if you want to keep it flexible enough so that, you can get it done, then give them a few different options. And just get it recorded, right? So by this time next week, Friday of next week, you will have recorded 2 episodes of your podcast. Yes?
Cool. Question. What do you send to your guests? Sorry.
Mason was like, what's that question? Go ahead.
Me, Roxy? I was just wondering, for your guests, do you send an email to them, like giving them kind of the outlay of like what they need to do in terms of their space and their setup?
Yeah. Yes, we do that. Look, there's a lot there. This can get super complicated really, really quick. If I give you everything that we do right now, you will shut down and you will not do it. You will shut down. Go ahead, Will.
So Armando's right. We do that with the people that we have guesting on podcasts. So we produce for other people. But I will tell you, Roxy, 99% of the people who come on other people's podcasts, they just show up in front of their laptop. Sometimes they're on their phone. They don't read that stuff. They're just showing up to guest on the podcast. And if you get them there and they appear, you won. You're a winner. You got a guest and you're recording your episode. That's really all you really need to be concerned about. If you send them that stuff, it makes you look good. And they're like, holy shit, Roxy's got her stuff together. But they're not gonna do it.
Okay.
The goal is to get them to show up.
Can they do it on the phone? Because
not
that's the
ideal.
issue I'm running up against, is that this space that I work in is like the most tech averse space ever. A lot of the people I'm talking to don't own a laptop or don't have any device in their household besides their smartphone that has phone, camera and microphone.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but I mean, yes, you can
Well,
record podcasts on your phone.
so here's what I will tell you, Roxy, is
Yeah.
that'll be a really telling experience for you too, is that maybe these are people that you don't necessarily want to be bringing on your podcast, right?
Okay.
Like you might be able to, there are people out there that are tech savvy. I mean, it's 2025. If you have a business, you should understand how tech works. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you don't, more than likely means that you don't have any influence. Your social currency is probably very low. And you should probably start looking at, and there's a whole group of people I can introduce you to now that I know that you're in that space. Jennifer K. Hill, who I'm a member of her group, they're all, and I sent you a video about her. I don't know if you got it or not, but she did a podcast on like, mindset stuff and grief and things like that. So
Yeah.
there are people, they're high level people that
Okay.
have this stuff. If these people don't have this stuff, you probably don't want them on your podcast because they're not going to push it out to their people anyway.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So think about that.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. But Mason is he was like, no, I don't know about having a podcast done by next week, but
We'll see.
it's all good. Look, here's and this is what I was telling Jesse too. Your first podcast guest could be us.
Well, I already have 5 people who committed, so
Great.
I
Well,
just
then what are we talking about? Then we already know. then you already have people, right? If you guys are starting to ramp it up, and I was telling Jesse this too, is like the people that know you are going to be okay with coming onto your podcast. It's going to be a lot easier to sell it than somebody that doesn't know you, right? And we also have a huge influence of people that will be glad to come on your podcast, and get to talk about what they do. So if you guys are needing guests, I mean, people that are on this podcast, I mean, people that are on this call right here, my mastermind that I have, Content into Clients, those people are going to be really good podcast guests because they're looking to increase their podcast guesting as well. So it's just going to give them more of an opportunity to come on and flex and talk about what they do, right? What we did with Mason. Right? Mason, you did the podcast with Adrian?
yes.
Yeah. So Mason did the podcast with Adrian, and now he's in the mastermind. He's getting value from that. We're also consulting with him. So we're consulting with Abizer. We're consulting with Ryan. So we can help you. Any other questions?
Mando,
Yeah.
can you talk a bit about lighting? Talk a bit about
You wanna-
lighting. I'm talking about your backlight.
Uh-huh.
How does it affect? Sometimes you could place a light behind you, it begins to affect the camera, like Dean said. I think maybe you can expatiate on that a bit. So we know how we place our lights.
I have a light down here. You see right here that it's creating this sort of.
Yeah.
I always like a floor light behind me. This light behind me is not the best, but I don't mind it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because it's like kind of right behind my head.
Okay.
But I really wouldn't worry about the backlight as much as your front light. What's in front of you, Jesse?
It's a ring light.
Okay.
A ring light, yes.
You may want to change it a little bit because it's a little orange.
No, I actually changed something in my Zoom in an app. I'm actually connecting with an app and I changed it to yellow. So I guess that's why it's looking a bit yellow.
Yeah, it looks very yellow.
It looks a bit yellow. Still working on that. Still trying to understand lighting, how to place things so that way we get the best view, so someone doesn't look at you as unprofessional.
I think it more importantly, like how you're lit is fine. And you see on the back end of you, like the left side of you, there's nothing there. You have
Yeah.
stuff on the right, but you have nothing on the left. So maybe put a
Yeah.
bookshelf there, something, another piece of art,
Okay.
put something right there and you're good to go.
Okay. Do that.
Yep. All right, my friends. 2 podcasts next week. You're going to get it done. It's going to be awesome. And we will learn
Yeah.
through the process.
Abizer, what's your bird's name?
My bird's name is Kiwi,
Ah,
like the fruit.
Why kiwi?
We started as Mr. Frodo, and then the kids decided Kiwi, and the kids won. Yeah, that's how that is.
That's how it happens. That's how it happens.
Nice.
Well, cool guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow at 11 again for day 4. We are moving right along. Watch those recap videos if you haven't yet. And